Welcome to the Pit Check, your weekly news for the best and heaviest new albums from your favorite extreme metal and hardcore bands. After last week's ungodly heavy episode, today feels extremely refreshing based on the variety of music we have to talk about today. In particular, we've got a ton of interesting and diverse new metalcore. But honestly, fans of mathcore and experimental metal have an amazing week ahead, with quite a few chaotic and weird albums that are highly recommended. And of course, we've got some death metal, deathcore, and hardcore albums that you definitely can't miss as well. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and let's get right into the reviews for this week's best new albums. Modern metalcore deserves way more credit. The metalcore giants Fit for a King are back with their latest album, titled Lonely God. There is a huge resurgence in MySpace metalcore and throwback metalcore right now, but it's gotta be stated that some of these modern metalcore bands are actually pushing the genre forward into a very mature new direction, without losing any of their creativity or heaviness. At times, this gave me some of those extremely emotionally crushing and melodic vibes, reminiscent of bands like Imminence or The Plot in You. You know, bands that lead with emotion and atmosphere, and have those like super powerhouse halftime choruses with that like desperate vocal fry. I thought this album did a great job balancing their heavier and softer sides. Some of these songs are beautiful ballads, and then obviously some of the songs are their classic blend of these heavy verses and then clean choruses, and then others smack you like a lead pipe so you don't forget how heavy they actually can be. This was another really solid output from Fit for a King, proving that even after like 13 years, they don't really want to stagnate and instead push forward and deliver some quality metalcore. Need some pissed off new hardcore music? The angry as hell hardcore band Scarab has just released their debut album titled Burn After Listening. This album is going to be for hardcore and metalcore lovers that really want their music to sound like it has multiple restraining orders against it. This entire album, yes, all 13 minutes of it, is so driving and up-tempo and a little grindy at times, but instead of going fully off the deep end with their experimental side, they still keep a lot of that hardcore and metalcore structure and spine, just like way more unhinged and chaotic. I loved this album front to back, and the feature from Nails in particular is crazy. If you need an incredible album for the gym, this one is guaranteed to get you hyped. Put on this and the new Scalp album back to back, and you'll either have the best workout of your life or like a mental breakdown. This band sounds like it's from another planet. The legendary mathcore band Carbomb are back with their latest EP titled Tiles, Whispers, Dreams. I swear I mean this in the best possible way, but sometimes this album sounds like you're listening to a vinyl record that's been just like water damaged. Obviously, this band is absolutely an acquired taste. You should be expecting tempo changes, time signature changes, discordant and haunting melodies, a ton of jazz and progressive polyrhythms, and then these just crazy heavy and technical riffs and chugging patterns that really give me a kind of Meshuggah influence. And it makes you go like, how the hell do you remember to play all this? Do you have like sheet music? This is one of those bands that I absolutely love, but I totally get it if someone's like, no, they sound insane. Like, yeah, no, they do. Definitely check this one out. Obviously, if you love Mathcore, but also I think if you love like really technical and progressive death metal or even groove metal, you might be interested in at least hearing what all the noise is about. Save the animals, or else we won't save you. The vegan deathcore and beatdown hardcore crossover band To The Grave has just released their latest EP titled Still. I love that even their Instagram is listed as an animal rescue service. And I really appreciate how bands like To The Grave and Cattle Decap can leverage the haunting imagery of the treatment of animals into these brutal and visceral songs that are just dripping in atmosphere. Despite a ton of lineup changes over the years, this is still up there with some of the heaviest material this band has ever put out. And I always love to hear when they skirt around some of these slam and beatdown hardcore elements, which blend perfectly with their classic brutal deathcore sound. I always love when bands are super passionate about whatever it is that they stand for. Even when I'm not like vegan or straight edge myself, I always feel like that passion really pushes the songwriting and energy to that next level. And their willingness to fight for the animals is so inherent and tangible. It genuinely feels like they're going to be knocking on your door with a baseball bat if you eat a cheeseburger. But you know what? I can't help but respect that. Need some beatdown rapcore? The Denver-based hardcore and metalcore band Fox Lake has just released their sophomore album titled New World Heat. Fox Lake has a really fun and aggressive metallic hardcore meets nu metal sound, kind of similar to bands like Mugshot or Orthodox or Avoid, which funnily enough, 2 of the 3 of those are actually featured on this album. I also like that they're not afraid to switch things up all over this album. They have their obvious signature sound, but at times they'll also dive into full-blown rapcore, giving kind of Bayway or even Rage Against the Machine vibes. And then other times they'll just lean right into those beatdown hardcore, stupidly heavy breakdowns. I had a lot of fun with this one. It's another high energy album that'll go perfectly on that gym playlist. And I almost forgot to mention the other features from Silent Planet and Eyes of Salt also go crazy. Definitely check this one out if you need to get your adrenaline pumping. Want some DIY Scottish death metal? The brutal death metal and groove metal fusion band Hammer has just released their sophomore album titled Trapped. I love how intense and punishing these riffs and these drums are, treating your ears like punching bags for the entire 30-minute runtime. And not only is their death metal brutal and technical, but it's also kind of grindy and guttural and a little bit chaotic. I am such a fan of how melodic these guitars are. And they'll even have some of this like black metal tremolo picking that blends in with their brutal death metal riffs, but without ever letting their foot off the gas. This entire album is full throttle from moment one. I genuinely enjoyed this album so much more than their debut release. It feels like they finally figured out how all of their pieces can fit in the right place. So now it seems like they've figured out how to be just as blunt and hard-hitting as their name implies. French metalcore is so good. The metalcore and deathcore crossover band Purge of Sanity has just released their latest EP titled The Expense of Striving to Heal. Genuinely, this is up there with some of the most impressive vocal performances of 2025. This vocalist has such an incredible screaming range, I was genuinely getting like some Dickie Allen vibes. But then he'll just bust out these really smooth cleans that are blended really well within these song structures, never feeling forced or shoehorned in. This is generally a metalcore band, especially with the like song structures and the clean choruses, and they can be atmospheric and spacey with these really amazing guitar solos that are always welcome. But holy shit, does this band get heavy. They are not afraid to hit these nasty halftime breakdowns with these just deep gutturals. I was really surprised by this band. This was the first I had ever heard from them, and I'm already super sold. I am very excited to see what's in store for Purge of Sanity in the future. Want some unbelievably chaotic Canadian hardcore? The Grindcore, Hardcore, and Mathcore crossover band Abrupt Decay has just released this brain-melting new album titled The Illusion of Our Choices in a World of No Options. I love how messy and chaotic this band can be without ever feeling like they've lost control or they're just being weird for the sake of being weird. They are so precise and technical while delivering absolute mayhem. What is? And I really dig how they love adding in all of these different elements and influences. There's some deathcore vibes here and there, but there's also like samples and DJ scratching, and some insane features from Psycho Frame, Cell Damage, Diploid, and Trench. If you love your music unhinged and experimental while still pummeling you with heaviness, definitely check this one out. And now here is the full list of all the bands and new releases that we did and did not cover on today's episode. Oh my god, there's so many good bands on this list that I just didn't get to review this week. Accused has a new album that is another in a long line of these German metalcore bands that are just crushing it. Definitely check that one out if you get a chance. The band The Armed is a chaotic post-hardcore band that I really wanted to cover, especially because it would have fit in with today's theme of all these chaotic hardcore bands. But definitely check it out if you love that experimental screamo, like Fear Before the March of Flames vibes, but with a little bit of like shoegaze. And Ryo Kinoshita, the former vocalist of Crystal Lake, has a new band called Knosis, and they have a new album out titled Knosis. It's some pretty solid new metalcore that's a little bit experimental as well, so definitely check that out if you liked Crystal Lake, but maybe you wanted a little bit more Limp Bizkit vibes. But for real, there's just so much good stuff this week. Please check out any of these bands that maybe stuck out to you. And seriously, thank you all again so much for all of these incredible comments and feedback. It genuinely means the world to me. So I'm down to keep making these weekly album reviews and recap videos if you're down to keep watching them. And I'll see you next week for more news and reviews from your favorite metal and hardcore bands.